Brawling. I work at the second largest chain of health centers in Northern California with 28 clinics in the Northern Valley. I'm also a member of the Merced City Council, and I've worked with asthmatic populations for the last 8 years in the Valley as a lifelong Valley resident. But it became really real for me, even more so last week when I gave my 4-month-old his first breathing treatment, and I'm hoping that's not a sign of things to come. And I'm probably going to say things that you've already heard today, but I just want to let you know that in the same amount of time, those 8 years, I worked with our Valley Air District. And really, frankly, what caused me to run for public office was years and years of blatant disregard of the public and not listening to hundreds of residents repeatedly coming to the table and hearing excuses about why they couldn't do more. And their response now is, we'll just go to the table and undo the Clean Air Act. So I want to thank you for coming, thank you for your time and for listening and your commitment to continue to come to the table and listen, because as you can see, many people in this room, in this valley, are frustrated because of years of not being listened to and suffering the results in our families as a result. So I want to thank you for coming to the Valley, and I want you to know that you do have support to move forward in protecting them and our families. Thank you.
Before Tom speaks, we also forgot Susana Leanda from the Community Water Center to be up here meeting ready to speak.
Okay, my name is Tom Grant from Kern County, Southern New and San Joaquin Valley. I'm head of the Association of Irrigated Residents, which is a grassroots valley group. About 10 years ago, we saw the problem of a massive invasion of factory dairies into our area. Like in Kern County, went from 40,000 cows to about 170,000 over a 15-year period. So we knew the pollution problem was there, but they were exempt from the Clean Air Act regulations. So we sued EPA. EPA agreed to settle with us and tell California they would begin regulating the source. And there are many stationary sources of emissions at dairies that are major sources from these large factories. So we sued a dairy dam. We were allowed to under the Clean Air Act in federal court here in Fresno, and we won. The judge said they had to not only mitigate as much as they could, they had to buy offsets for their VOC emissions. Great. But the EPA under George Bush stepped into our case illegally and said, we don't think the law is being stated right there. I think maybe we made a mistake. There was a bunch of mumble jumble, but it delayed our case suddenly, put it on hold until EPA would make a ruling. We had great hopes for change and environmental justice issues that come to the forefront a couple of years ago, but that case just sits there. And in fact, the EPA, your EPA, has proposed to make the same ruling that the Bush EPA made in favor of factory dairies, that they don't have to be regulated under the Clean Air Act in the same way as another factory. But we need to find out so that case can either go forward or not, and not just let it sit there. And these are many problems that are repeated, where the talk is great. The talk is great on environmental justice, but the action needs to be there. Thank you.
A quick presentation about water. We know we're an air quality coalition, but we have colleagues that work on water, so could be Maria. And then after that we'll have Emily and Mary, and Emily Schreff and Mary Curry. Oh, and then the Martinez to close it off quickly.
Good afternoon. My name is Maria Herrera, and I'm the Community Outreach Coordinator with the Community Water Center. Community Water Center is an environmental justice nonprofit who works to ensure that all communities in the San Joaquin Valley have access to safe, clean, and affordable drinking water. And I know that you have heard from many of the residents in the room about concerns with air quality, but we also have a big issue here in the valley, and that's the lack of safe drinking water. Right here behind me, we have 2 bottles. One of them is clear, the other one's brown. Many of us would probably avoid the brown one because of its looks, but looks can be deceiving, because actually the darker bottle is actually safer to drink than the clear bottle, and that's because of the contaminants that's in the clear water. That one is contaminated with nitrates, which is one of the most common contaminants here throughout the valley, and one of the #1 reasons for well closure in the state. I know that the EPA has a mandate to uphold the Safe Drinking Water Act and the Clean Water Act. And we're here today because we want you to know that the drinking water crisis exists throughout the San Joaquin Valley. It's not limited to 1 or 2 communities. It's been around for decades. I personally have lived in the valley since the age of 3, and my family and now my kids are having to deal with not being able to drink the water from the tap. And today there was a lot of talk about the methyl iodine, and I think that it's really interconnected with the water, and we support the demand to ask EPA to grant the petition and cancel, suspend any use of the methyl iodine, because we know that methyl iodine will contaminate our drinking water sources. This has happened in the past, and we wanted to make sure that you stop further contamination of our drinking waters, and that is one way that you can do that. With us, we have residents from Cutler, which is a community who right now has unsafe drinking water due to a pesticide, DDCP, which was banned back in the 60s. And even though it's been so long, we still continue to see it in our drinking waters. If you do not act and you do not suspend the use of methyl iodine, you're going to be condemning communities like Cutler to years from now have to continue to deal with the bad decisions that was done in the past. And for that, we urge you not only to listen, but to take action and ensure that you are truly doing your job in protecting low-income communities of color. And we know that those are the communities that are impacted the most. Studies have shown that if you're Latino, low-income, and live in the valley, you have higher chances of having that kind of water, unsafe drinking water. And so, as a souvenir, we want to give you bottled water that's California Central Valley Supply blend, and the ingredients include nitrates, DDCP, and arsenic, and also a publication that talks about water and health in the valley. Thank you.